Bula Vinaka and hello to you all. Bula. My name is Pallawish Kumar and I am from Fiji Islands. In case if you don't know where Fiji is, that's where Fiji is. As a youth from Fiji, I bear witness to this adversity of constant changing of weather patterns and climate change in one way or the other, every single day. From rising sea level that forces low-lying communities to move inland, leaving behind their traditional land and places they have called home. Through many generations to high-frequency Category 5 cyclones that reverse decades of development progress in a matter of hours and pushes many Pacific Islanders into very difficult situation. The already devastating effects of natural disaster and public health emergencies such as pandemic and other socio-economic issues. The action of larger nations such as fossil fuel-based consumption, hunger of developed world continues to have a devastating effects on us, the small island developing state, who remains at the forefront of climate change. Rising global temperature are decreasing food security and eroding livelihood, as changing weather patterns negate traditional farming and fishing practices. Current and future generation will not be able to live in harmony with the environment. My grandparents and community leaders, witnesses of colonial world, did not have to worry about growing climate adversity at global and regional level. My leaders are already fighting to place the plate above mention of the Pacific at the forefront of global climate discourse. Fiji is regarded as global climate champion on climate change and took up the role of being president of COP23. To build momentum of increased climate action, national efforts including the participation of young people in meaningful dialogues relating law, policy, frameworks as well as climate action interventions. There was a need in input by the youths. In 2021, the Fiji government with support of UNICEF Pacific hosted the Fiji country's first National Action Climate Youth Summit, where 200 youths from registered youth clubs around the world gathered to share experience and knowledge, as well as engage with development partners. The summit focused on advancing youth-led community initiatives, which was adopted as Climate Change Act Bill 2021. The youth participation also produced an outcome statement which was used by Minister of Youth and Sports to guide its engagement and support towards youth climate action. To ensure meaningful youth engagement, government programs that strengthen youth collaboration with stakeholders, develop activities, programs that strengthen youth commitment, and foster innovative thinking to provide solutions regarding DRR and climate adaptation issues. So let me share with you a brief summary on disaster risk reduction and climate action adaptation projects initiated by youths in their respective communities.
Na sili bulubua may bare nga bimiyaw ale ka mamilong durungo may na ni dang ma teliap baka tadi sa balik ko dang na ambagigana mapata tadi balik si abal ni balik na horma walsong global one baka tadi na kami kemi ubaru ko nga yu nilu sabang buah. Kami sa terbaginan hayat dalam menunggu. Ma siya tungadur bibisun nirai. Kenapa kami sisi akoro kami bisa temumpul balik sa. Kami bisa lalu menabur wangalal, memerni yaw menabur na minale. Iya mami una pun ni nakoro mami kanyang bulpa nakoro pa ambangon ni. Kami tombol ini sulseliba. Kita tapa horo awal mau beri orang kami kalau boleh namun jangan Roy ba project mo ay ni project ng bali ay secreto na kinabunga nito komande na igo ko ni project bali ay ko na kinamar Roy ya subsuar ko Roy na lewenyu tungay igo si tunga ko na kinamar Roy na ya ko ni bagasi bali amu ay na kini duga project Roy duga bonu igo tuba me ako kina iku bula iku sok-sok au ba kina na maete o mateo ki ya tu ba kawalen de bambin baro ni amar re ki ya iku sok-sok na ako tay ko
Morona kam suami Morona president di Australia club in Nakorpo. We believe that climate change is an everyday issue. We're going to face, we're going to live with it every day. So we came up with this adaptation approach in order for us to prevent or minimize the effects of climate change in our community. Past few years, our community have been experiencing the effects of natural disasters. For example, in 2016 windstorm, most of the houses are blown away during the windstorms. Also during a natural disaster, our food source, our water source also affected during these times. So our youth club working together come up with the initiatives to plant mangroves, to plant native trees, and also fruit trees for our food security. So for that we have started from doing preparation for the nurseries and also for the seedlings. We believe this will have a very positive impact on the community when we face future disasters such as flooding and storm cells in our community. We can prevent, we can protect our community from these natural disasters by starting and implementing our action plan on mangrove planting and native trees to protect our community, our people, and our stories behind our community in our village.
Thank you. Moving on. As a youth climate champion of Fiji, I am also a staff of Ministry of Youth and Sports as a youth officer looking after whole of Flow Group. Delivering DRR and climate change projects. I live in a remote part of Fiji looking after whole of Flow Group, which consists more than 25 islands scattered apart. It takes nearly a half day, nearly 5, 6, 7 hours to reach one of my islands. And I tell you, it's not an easy job. It's one of the challenges that I face. But yet, we are committed, we have that leadership, we have that commitment to reach out to the islands, reach out to our youths and to help them implement DRR and climate action projects. Our projects at ministry level, the welfare of youths in the country is one of the government's priority. And one of its main focus to see young Fijians are treated fairly. As part of commitment to an inclusive policy of all Fijians, regardless of ethnicity, social background, status in the community, culture, and religious belief. To address this with young Fijians, government through Ministry of Youth and Sports has put in place opportunities to our youths to be empowered, self-sustainable through Ministry's mobile skills and specific skills, empowerment and capacity trainings. More to this, Ministry of Youth and Sports in collaboration with JICA will be implementing an accredited training program on DRR and climate change adaptation training called Certificate 1 in Resilience. And this training certificate is not just going to be a training center based, it's going to be more a community based. I would like to share one of my experiences as being in one of the remote parts of Fiji. As I said before, I live in one of the remote areas and I see mainland once a year or twice a year. I travel once a year or twice a year back to the mainland. And it's a challenging job, but our commitment is there. Just an experience that I would like to share. A few weeks ago, I traveled to one of the remote islands, and there was this project going on, and we implemented a project. There was a discussion on this, and within 2 weeks, we implemented a project to that youth club, to that island in Vanambalavu. It's an island in Lau Group. We implemented that project, and it was delivered within 2 weeks, and that was coral planting. Some of you might think, why coral planting? Why not this project? Why not that project? Coral planting, coral bleaching is a particular concern today, as our climate changes and temperature rises. So it also has an effect on SDGs. Let's talk about food security. SDG, like SDG 2, zero hunger. When we have corals, we have habitats. When we have habitats, we are talking about SDG 14, that's life below water. Then we are talking about SDG 13, climate action. Then we are talking about SDG 15, life on land. So all the SDGs are interlinked with each other. When we talk about corals, when we talk about mangroves, everything is interlinked. As you can see, our commitment, our leadership is there. We want to reach out to our communities, to our young youths, and to be there with them, to have that leadership, to have that commitment, because as a young youth, we have that leadership in us. And there's a cliche saying that youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but maybe absolute of today's a new coin and a new saying. Youths are the elders of tomorrow. In regards, when I grow old, I would like to see my children and their grandchildren to be able to enjoy the beauties as I did. Our beautiful ecosystem, our pristine greenery of Pacific and unique culture of Pacific that is so closely tied with our climate and our environment. My greatest fear is nothing else apart from this. I hope that we can bind together and address climate change urgently. The world demands it, our future generation demands it. We have the solution, let's make it work for us. Thank you.